the second I start focusing on her swing and what her golf score is and what her mechanics are like, I get completely wrapped up in that and I forget that I'm on the green too. Hello, my friends. Welcome to It's All Magic. I am your guide, your host, and your friend, Devin Hine. And here we'll be discussing how to make your life truly feel like magic. I believe that our very existence on Earth is nothing less than a miracle, and that we all have so much potential to learn, to grow, to experience, and to create during our short time here. It is both my passion and my pleasure to walk this path of life optimization by your side, where we'll discuss topics like passion, purpose, intuition, manifestation, physical well-being, and much, much more. I'm a yoga teacher, a meditation and breathwork facilitator, and a national board certified health and wellness coach. But more importantly, I am an eternal optimist, a lover of life, and a forever student. It is my hope that with each and every episode, you too will finally start to believe it really is all magic after all. Ready to dive in? Let's do it. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to a brand new episode of It's All Magic. As you know by now, I am your guide, host, and friend, Devin Hine, and I am super excited to talk to you today. I actually was not planning on recording today, or I should backtrack. I was semi-planning on recording today, but I had some pre-planned content that I was thinking about sharing with you all. And I just 10 minutes ago had an experience that I felt like was worth sharing with you all, because it's a perfect example of something that I preach to others that I am clearly still learning myself. So before I dive into a little story time and a little teaching about said story time, do you want to take 3 deep breaths with me? I definitely could use it right now just to kind of release what I just was trying to process. And I think it'll be the perfect segue for us both to get into the story. So whatever you're doing right now, maybe unless you're driving, definitely don't close your eyes if you're driving. But if you happen to be sitting down and you'd like to close your eyes, I invite you to do so. If you'd rather keep your eyes open, that's also fabulous. So whenever you're kind of comfortable and ready, we're just going to take 3 simple deep breaths together. So emptying out from your previous breath and preparing your body to take a deep inhale through your nose, filling up all the way. And open mouth, sigh it out, let it all go. Beautiful. 2 more. Deep inhale through your nose. Open mouth, let it all go. 1 more. Make it your deepest, fullest breath yet. Breathe it all in through the nose. Hold at the top. And open mouth, let it go. Beautiful. You can gently flutter your eyes back open if you decided to close them to start with. Okay, I feel like a brand new woman. I feel ready to take on this podcast with you all. So to get started with story time, I will share a quote that I absolutely love, and it's now coming back to bite me in the butt. So the quote says, "You live it until you learn it." Essentially what that means is that we live the same lesson, the same experience or pattern or habit over and over until we learn the dang lesson associated with whatever that experience is. And I have often told that to others when I was a health and wellness coach and a life coach, and I would notice my client kind of living the same experience on repeat. Maybe it's that they always chose the guy that was verbally abusive and put them down. And we really had to dig into that. Or maybe it's that someone constantly chose a job where they felt underpaid and undervalued. Whatever the experience is, if you notice it popping up in your life again and again and again, it is going to continue to pop up into your life until you learn it. So you can just remember this quote, from my mouth to your ears, and we are learning it together, which is you live it till you learn it. So maybe right off the bat, you can already think of a certain experience that you have had over and over until you have figured out a different way of doing things. Or it might even be an emotional habit. Maybe you notice something triggering you over and over, and you feel like this thing will trigger you forever, but maybe you can actually get to a point where you hear that thing or you experience that thing and it doesn't have to trigger you. If you have learned to deal with it in a different way, or if you have learned to kind of move through the experience that it is triggering you to kind of enter back into, things can be different. So I invite you to kind of figure out for yourself maybe what that pattern or experience is for you. And now, my good friends, I will tell you one of the many experiences that it is for me. So I'll go back in time for a second, and I've talked about this a little bit on the podcast already, but in case you haven't heard those episodes or you just need a little refresher, here's the story. So I had done some entrepreneurial work for a few years ago. I was an entrepreneur in the health and wellness and spirituality space. I was both a health and wellness coach and a life coach. I did a lot of meditation and breathwork facilitation. I facilitated workshops. I facilitated ceremonies, all sorts of things. And I really enjoyed it. I knew in my soul that it was the right path for me. I've always been interested in health and wellness. I naturally gravitate towards, careers that involve teaching or coaching or inspiring crowds on a stage or facilitating something with an audience. I love those things. I've done them since I was a child, and I just really, really enjoy them. They bring me joy. But as I have shared in some past episodes at this point, I got to a point where I hit total burnout and things were not feeling fun anymore. They were not feeling easy. Things weren't flowing. Nothing was feeling aligned anymore, which, if you just heard what I said, doesn't make sense because I was so clearly on my path. I knew it. My family members knew it. My friends knew it. Anyone who knew me, including myself, knew that this was right for me. And yet, clearly, something wasn't right. And so what I have since figured out is that I had gotten to a point where I was letting all of the outside influences really dictate the way that I led my business, the way that I ran my business. So I would listen all the time to podcasts about how to, run a soul-led, heart-led business. And I would try to take those ideas and run with it. I had really good intentions. I mean, I think most of us do. We all just want to help people. We just want to be happy. We want to lead good, helpful, service-led lives. And that's what I was trying to do. But the second I started letting everyone else's opinions and ideas, even the ones that also were based in great intentions, when I let those dictate what and how I was doing things, it led me astray. It led me off my path of joy and my path of alignment. And this is something that I actually was just recently talking to a friend about. I have a really, really good childhood friend who has been writing a book for a few years. And she's told me the concept, the plot, she's explained the characters. And honestly, I think it sounds amazing. I think she was born to write this book. I think she was born to write many more books. But in this conversation we were having the other day, she said, well, I asked her, I said, so, how's the book coming along? And she said, I got to tell you, Dev, I am really in a rut. I have been in a total funk with my book for probably 6 months to a year at this point. And the reason why is because I realized I need to do so much more research to really have an accurate foundation for the plot. It's a sci-fi novel, and there are a lot of things she wants to make sure are accurate before she throws it in the book. And so she was telling me all these things that she should do, that she has to do. And I noticed immediately, both by her actual language as well as her body language, that she was shoulding on herself. And maybe you've heard this before. I've mentioned it in past podcasts, but she was getting to a point where she was essentially bringing down her own energy, her own joy, her own vibration, her own frequency by telling herself what she thought she should do, or what she needed to do, what she has to do. And the second she started following all those ideas of what she thinks she has to do to fit into a certain mold, to make the book successful, to make it popular, whatever it may be, she fell off her path. There's actually a saying that goes, life is a narrow bridge. And it has 1,000,001 interpretations, but the one that I have heard the most is that life is this bridge. There's a path that we all have that is laid out before us, and it can be easy to follow the path. If you know what to listen to, like your intuition, your gut, and you know how to manifest your dreams and whatever it may be, it's easy to follow your path. It's easy to stay on your bridge. But the reason it's a narrow bridge is because it can actually be kind of difficult to stay on said path or bridge. So like this example with my friend and her book that deserves to be written, it's so easy to listen to other people's opinions or start shooting on yourself, or in some way get out of alignment with what you're doing, even when that very thing is actually in alignment with you. And so I bring all of this up because I just had this experience. So as I said, way back when I was doing my entrepreneurial work, I had signed up for this business mastermind, and it was with other entrepreneurs kind of selling similar programs and offerings. Many of them were coaches. And from the first day that I entered the mastermind, I had come into it with a lot of hope. I felt like, oh, this is going to help me reach so many more people and really build a community and find the right clients and change their lives. And this is then going to change my life because I'll have this thriving business. I felt like I could see it in my mind's eye. It was going to be beautiful. And yet, from the moment I started and I tuned into, let's call it like the new student orientation or ceremony, whatever it was, I felt my energy and my joy and my alignment with what I was doing completely dip. And I wish I had known then what I know now from these experiences. But everything I learned in that mastermind, while it was incredibly, incredibly helpful and useful on kind of a practical business level, it made me should on myself every single day, to the point where even though I was an entrepreneur in my dream space, I was not enjoying a single day. I never had that feeling where I woke up excited to create my wellness content and coach my clients. I was so far out of alignment with the way that I actually wanted to do things. I just started listening to what the mastermind said, and it honestly ruined it all for me. And that's why I hit burnout. I got to a point where I honestly could not imagine continuing on doing what I was doing. And so I ended up, what started out as a joke became my reality. I had jokingly said to my then boyfriend, now husband, that I should join the corporate workforce and try something completely different. That's a whole other story we'll save for another time. But the long story short is that I was on my path, but I had led myself astray because I was not following what brought me joy. I was following what I thought I should do, which subsequently dropped my joy. And here we are a few years later, I find myself pulled back to the same path because this path is so meant for me. I love talking to you guys like you're truly friends. I love having these deep conversation, contemplating the big questions in life. This is literally what I do with my girlfriends when we have walk-in talks. And this is what I do with my mom when we meet for dinner. I mean, this is the bread and butter of my soul, my heart, my mind. And yet again, the second I start to internalize what everyone else is doing or the way that I think I should be doing it, I find myself completely uninspired and unexcited and unmotivated. And so the situation that just happened is that I had come back from a walk. I was on a walk and I had talked to my mom for a little bit, just catching up. And funny enough, wow, this is ironic. I just realized this. I had asked her on the walk, hey, are there any specific podcast topics that you think could be really interesting for me to discuss? Just, any ideas that you have. And she had brought up this one idea that at the time I felt like, oh, that's a good one, but that's kind of more of your message with some of the stuff she does. And I'll get to the message in a second. Just hold on, be patient. And at the time I felt like, oh, that's more your message, less mine. Doesn't really resonate, but I really appreciate the idea. Thank you. Keep me in the loop if anything comes to you in the middle of the night, whenever. I'm all ears. So I get off the phone and I come back to my apartment. I signed back onto my computer and I checked my email. And at the top of my email, I got one of those, I don't want to call it a spam message because they can be really helpful, but I got one of those kind of marketing email campaigns, you can say, from another entrepreneur in the health and wellness and spirituality space. And this is an entrepreneur. I won't name the entrepreneur here because this person truly is incredible. However, when I clicked on the email, all of the shoulding began because this email was essentially top tips that she has learned as a longtime entrepreneur and business owner at this point in time. It was, I think, 11 tips maybe, kind of tips and tricks and general advice. And they were really helpful tips. The kinds of tips that when you read them, you think, oh, I should totally do that. That makes all the sense in the world. Because she's been an entrepreneur for so long, she has figured out her team, her automation. I mean, everything is just in easy flow for her. She has really nailed the process, nailed the routine. And here I am starting a podcast out of the sheer desire to, as I just said, I just want to share with you. I want to create this community. I'm not selling anything right now. I just want to spend this time with you. And yet, as soon as I read her email and I saw her tips, I felt my energy drop to the point where I actually felt sad and I felt anxious. And my amazing husband / best friend / soulmate, Cal, was in the room. And I said, oh man, Cal, I feel awful right now. And he said, what? And I showed him the email and I was like, oh, I feel awful because this email is so helpful. He was like, what? Explain yourself, woman. And so I did. And I explained exactly what I'm explaining right now. And I mean, thank goodness for him. He ended up coaching me the way that I always coach him and my friends. And he brought up these concepts that I'm sharing right now. He said, Dev, you can't do this again. You have to follow your joy. If you read something that feels like it doesn't resonate, or it doesn't in some way energize you, motivate you, inspire you, bring you more joy, then it's not right for you. And so I've said in podcast episodes before that joy, and I really believe this, that joy is your greatest indicator of what is meant for you. It's the greatest guiding light, North Star for your path and finding your alignment in life. And so I know this, I say this, I just said this in a podcast episode, and yet here I am living the same lesson until I learn it. And that is exactly what I'm just saying, that I was reading these tips and I felt like they resonated on a level of should rather than I get to, or I want to, or I desire to. And so going back to what I said earlier about I was on the phone with my mom and she had a message that she thought I could share on the podcast. And I said, oh, Mom, that's more of a you message. It's not a me message. Oh, no. That is why this whole thing is so ironic. Oh my gosh. Her message is amazing. This was a quote that she had gotten from some other brilliant woman years ago, but she's always said to me, play golf. In life, in your career, in everything, play golf. And what that means is that when you play golf, you have to keep your head down. You have to focus on your own swing, your own mechanics. You have to watch your own ball. You are not focusing on what anyone else is doing on the green. You can't, because if you do, you will mess up your own swing. You know, you can't even let that into your head. You got to focus on your own stuff, girl. And so as my mom was sharing, oh, play golf. And I thought, yeah, but that's kind of more of a businessy thing. I don't know. It doesn't feel right. And here I am. I am currently learning to play golf. That I received this amazingly helpful, practical email from a fellow entrepreneur who inspires me in a lot of ways. And yet the second I start focusing on her swing and what her golf score is and what her mechanics are like, I get completely wrapped up in that and I forget that I'm on the green too. And really all that matters is that I focus on my own swing. I'm here playing golf and I'm not even focusing on my golf playing. And so this whole episode is me talking in real time, processing in real time, the irony of this whole experience that my mom tells me play golf. I say, no, not really for me, not really for my audience. I come back. I have this experience that completely tanks my excitement, makes me feel like, oh my gosh, here we are again. I was starting to feel like I was back in my same shoes, 2-3 years ago when things were starting to feel out of alignment because I was shitting on myself. And man, after all this, I just had to learn to play golf. So I'm sharing this with you for many reasons. I've already shared a few messages, but I would say the take-home ideas here, the one thing that I hope you can share with your friends and family, partners, whatever, is A, you live it till you learn it. So I want you to think about what are the lessons that continuously pop up in your own life that it's about time you learn. We all have them. You are not alone in this, I promise you. The second is joy is the greatest indicator of your path and of what's meant for you. So if you start to feel yourself kind of getting off of that path of joy and doing things because you think you should as opposed to because you want to or because it feels right and it feels good, you have gone astray. And that doesn't mean you can't course correct. We can always course correct. There is no such thing as too late. You can always come back to center, but allow your joy to be your North Star. Your joy is your guiding light. And then the third is play golf in life, in relationships. You know, we all get so caught up in looking at social media and comparing ourselves to, you know, so-and-so travel vlogger, and oh my gosh, they get to go on so many trips, or looking on Instagram and you see this person with, you know, a perfect looking partner. Whatever it may be, you know, we compare ourselves in our careers, in our appearance, in our relationships, in the household. And yet at the end of the day, again, it doesn't matter what any of those people are doing, because if you are focusing on your own swing and if you are following your own joy, there is no going wrong. I mean, you've just won the whole game. You literally just won life by doing that. So those are my tips and tricks for you today. Again, this was a completely unplanned episode, but I want to be raw and real with you guys. I want to be just a light and a friend in your day, whether you listen to this on a walk or when cleaning the dishes. I just want to be like I'm in the room with you. So with that, I will wrap up this short, quick episode and say that I am already excited to see you again next week. As I always say, I hope that this episode will help you finally start to believe it really is all magic after all, my friend. Okay, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.